Well, hello and welcome back. Thanks for coming back. Where are we? Sitting up in Tallaght. We're by the Tallaght Amphitheatre. It's a fabulous day. It really, really is. The temperature, if you're curious to know what time is it, 9:30 in the morning, is around about 27 degrees. The humidity is a little bit lighter. It ramps up in the afternoon, and we crescendo into an evening on the Island of Love where the fun begins. Restaurants, bars, you get to meet your friends and relax and have a fabulous, fabulous time, which of course is what life is all about. That's why many people move to Cyprus. They understand that the quality of life is amazing. The weather is amazing, but the cost of life is a little bit cheaper than most of mainland Europe, and of course considerably cheaper than living in the UK. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Imagine having a better life, lifestyle, and saving a bit of money, in particular on your tax. So, today's topic, coming to live in Cyprus. You have made the decision to come to Cyprus, which was a good decision, by the way. You know, you pondered on it for 6 months, 12 months, maybe a lot longer, but then you finally made the plunge and you decided to come and live in Cyprus. You got in contact with someone like ourselves, and we organised for you to be picked up from the airport, whisked away to perhaps a suitable apartment, a townhouse, or the villa of your dreams. And you've rented it for a week, 2 weeks, or a month while you find your feet in Cyprus, because you're going to need somewhere to stay, aren't you? Yeah. One of the services that we can organise for you, and then it starts. You're going to run around like crazy for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, sorting out your new life, because you've got to start the process of immigration. Otherwise, they're going to tell you to leave. So, you've got to find a rental property. The rental property has got to have a rental contract for 12 months. This is part of your immigration. It doesn't have to be the most expensive rental property. Remember, it's only for 12 months. So perhaps if you're a couple on your own, a one-bedroom apartment in a central location will do the job. Or perhaps you want something a bit bigger. That choice is yours. Get in contact with us and we can advise you on the costs per month of various properties in various locations. We can source those properties for you. We can send pictures of those properties for you, and you can give us a brief, and we can find that property for you before you even arrive in Cyprus. So your life is already getting easier. Once you're here, we can loan you a car so you can travel around and start to learn your way around while you decide which car you want to buy. Again, you can choose a car from anywhere, or you can tell us what car you want and the budget, and we can source that car for you, get that car transferred into your name, and yet again, another step has been completed. And remember, it doesn't have to be the car of your dreams. It could be something quite simple like a Toyota Corolla. It could be 7 or 8 years old, and it's going to cost you somewhere around about 15,000 euros. But remember, you are going to need a car. And as I keep telling you, the rental contract, because obviously the car has got to be registered to an address. Why? Because of course, if you're naughty, speeding, those kind of things, they need to know where that car is residing, shall we say. So it goes on and on, doesn't it? But what I'm trying to explain to you is how easy it can be. You've made the decision to come and live in Cyprus. You've squirreled away enough money. How much money are you going to need? Well, approximately, to make it simple, you're going to need 30,000 euros. So to make the maths very, very simple, we'll always round it down or round it up, £25,000. That's the income that you're going to be required to show on an annual basis. And in most cases, you will be required to open a bank account and deposit 10,000 euros. Now, a gentleman in the comments the other day asked, is that money frozen? Is that money blocked? The answer to that question is no. That money has to be deposited into a Cypriot bank account. We can help you to open a Cypriot bank account, by the way. We can introduce you and take you into a bank, and of course help you with the required paperwork, hold your hand, shall we say. Rest assured, if you are thinking about coming to Cyprus, there are people in Cyprus who will help you. There are people in Cyprus who will be your friend while you grow up and while you learn the system. You can be the cleverest person in the world, but I promise you, when you come to Cyprus, it's like going back to being a child, because of course, you've only ever been here on holiday, or perhaps you've never even been here before. So engage the services of someone like myself, Paul, and of course my partner in our crimes, Marika, and we will guide you and help you to find that perfect property for you to reside for the period of 12 months, a hire car, purchasing a car, opening a bank account, getting the bills on that property transferred into your name. Not as easy as you think it may be, perhaps in your home country where you go on the internet and do it. In Cyprus, you will physically be required to go into the electricity office, the water office, and you will be required to pay deposits. And you'll be required to take certain pieces of paper with you, ID and so forth, yellow slips and so forth, yeah? So, be prepared and engage the services of people who are going to help you. They're going to save your time and they're actually going to save your money. I know that sounds strange because you're going to have to pay them, but I promise you, by paying them, it will go much faster. You won't be going backwards and forwards, you won't be making mistakes, and overall, it will actually come out cheaper. And of course, the process will be much, much simpler. You won't get infuriated, you won't get frustrated. You will just relax and enjoy your new chapter in your life, living on the island of love. So it goes on and on, doesn't it? What would you have to do next? Well, like I say, you've now found a rental property and now you can start the process of immigration. I've mentioned this in many videos. You can start the process yourself, but again, based on what I've just said, keep your life easy. There are going to be upfront costs when you move to another country, so budget for it. And budget, in this case of moving to Cyprus, to cover for renting a property, a modest property this is, for buying a car, and for your immigration process. If I was you, I would budget somewhere around about £20,000. I understand that sounds a lot of money to some people, but remember, the apartment, something quite humble, you are going to pay the first month's rent and you are going to pay a deposit. So that in itself is going to cost you around about €3,000. Okay? Then you're going to want to purchase a car. I've mentioned this many times. Your budget is your budget, but to buy a decent car, a decent, reliable car in Cyprus, perhaps if you're coming from the UK, forget the prices of cars in the UK. This is Cyprus. They are approximately, as the cars get older, this is twice the price, and in some cases, a lot more. For example, if you were looking to buy a 10-year-old Ford Fiesta, in Cyprus, that car is going to cost you 5, 6, 7,000 euros, depending on its cost. In the UK, that car, depending on its condition, may cost you from £1,500 to £3,000. So think about this and remember, do not compare the prices of things in the UK to the prices of things in Cyprus. And again, this depends on where you're coming from in the UK. If you are relocating from, let's say, London, a one-bedroom apartment in London, and I don't mean right in the centre, is probably going to cost you £1,500, £2,000 a month. In Cyprus, that budget would get you a very, very big villa. Or to put that into context, if you're renting a one-bedroom apartment somewhere in and around the centre of Paphos, expect to pay 1,200, or maybe if you're lucky, €1,000. So a lot cheaper. So going back to the car, cars are much, much more expensive, but the living costs are much, much lower. Perhaps there's a subject I shouldn't talk about, These little things, cigarettes and smoking, terrible subject, isn't it? But if you are one of these terrible people that likes a cigarette or two, cigarettes are 1/3 of the price. So bear that in mind. Some food items are more expensive, but then some food items are less expensive. In general, clothes are more expensive, but when you balance it all out, the cost of living in Cyprus is probably somewhere around 25 to 30% cheaper than many capital cities of Europe, and in particular the UK. And then we go to tax. I think many people know that tax in Cyprus is much lower. Why is that? Well, it's quite a small country with a small population, and it doesn't have many of the problems that other countries have. Hence, they don't need to collect quite so much tax, which is good for you and of course good for me. If you are of pensionable age and you're coming from the UK, you will pay 5% tax on your pensions, up to a certain amount, of course. If you happen to be privileged to own a company and you can take it out as a dividend, you will pay 0% tax. All you will be required to pay on that income is a very small contribution to GESI. That's the National Health System of Cyprus, and the percentage currently is 0.0345%. You heard me correctly. So not a lot of money. So there's many benefits of coming to live in Cyprus. I'm trying to explain to you the upfront costs, and I will go back to it. The car, the property you're going to rent, and of course then the process of immigration. We all know the cost of government forms is not that much money, but it's the running around and the processing and the completion of those forms and making sure that the legalities are correct. Hence why you need people to hold your hand, and hence why you wisely should engage the services of a good lawyer. So that's going to cost you somewhere around €2,500 by the time all the processing is done. When you repeat it the following year, a fraction of the cost, because of course all of the paperwork and all of the processing has been done. You then, to be honest, are able to do it yourself and just pay the €20 for the renewed yellow slip. But to start with, I'm advising you, make sure that you set aside in and around 20,000 plus your living expenses, which will be a legal requirement of approximately £25,000, €30,000 per annum. And that money has to come from a foreign country. Okay, you can't earn that money in Cyprus unless you are an EU national, and then you will be able to get the right to work. But if you are a British national, you will not be allowed to work in Cyprus unless you are working remotely offshore, or perhaps you want to invest quite a lot of money and start your own business. But don't be thinking, perhaps if you're a plumber, an electrician, a gardener, that you can just wander off and start off as a one-man band. You cannot. You will be caught, you will be fined, and who knows what will happen. So follow the rules and make sure that you've got enough money. I understand perhaps some people are watching now thinking, well, I haven't got that kind of money. We all understand that. But if you are planning on starting a new life in another country, start now, put some money aside, and slowly but surely you will amass 20,000 over a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. When that time comes, then you can start the process, because many people that are thinking about moving to Cyprus are planning for their future, perhaps 5 years, 10 years in the future. Now that's a long time. So perhaps only go on one holiday a year, perhaps don't buy the new car every 2 or 3 years, and you'll be surprised how much money that you can save. Open a separate bank account and put it into that bank account and forget all about it. Just have a little check on it, But don't dip into it. And I promise you, in a few years, you will have enough money to come and live on the island of love. Now, I'm going to say those magic words. I've got one of these. I've got a lighter. It's time. Here we go. And you know what? Life is good on the island of love. All that's missing is you. So come on, get in contact. Contact details in the description. Contact details on screen. If you would like to have a video call, drop us a message and we can sort it out, and we can have a face-to-face, get to know each other and explain more services and how we can hold your hand when you decide to come to Cyprus. I'm going to leave you with the view from uptown in Tala by the amphitheatre. That's my view. It's not a bad view, is it? Beautiful sky, rooftops, treetops. In the distance is the blue, blue Mediterranean Sea. All that's missing is you. So come on, get yourself on a big bird or a canoe. Start paddling like crazy. Paphos, Cyprus, Marika and Me, you guessed it. We're waiting especially for you. Thanks very much for watching. I've truly enjoyed your company. Hopefully you've enjoyed my company, and hopefully you'll come back and join us again very, very soon indeed.